again today preparing great food for the holiday that's upcoming, whether it be Hanukkah or Christmas or a Tuesday that just delights you. This stuff is going to go really, really well. I make things in advance, preparable in advance, so that we can enjoy time with our family and make memories with our family instead of being locked in the kitchen, making memories for our family. Stuff that they all remember. The food was great. You remember that great time? Except mom's not in any of the pictures or dad's not in any of the pictures because they were locked in the kitchen. And I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. So if we plan properly and use our tools to the best of our benefit, we can have the best Christmas, the best Hanukkah, the best whatever, and have it ready in advance, and it will be perfect. Let's do it. Today we're going to make one of my very favorite recipes that I've been making for more years than oh my gosh, I don't even know, 10, 12, 15, I don't know, a long time. We're making biscotti, but we're making two different kinds. Now these are terrific just to serve because people are in the house. They're great to pack up beautifully and give as gifts. They're great to turn the lights off and dip into your coffee when your children are being particularly annoying. Those are mine up there. We're going to make a double chocolate biscotti and we're going to make a chocolate chip almond biscotti. These are absolute perfection, and the key is in the texture and the method. It's very important that you follow very clearly because otherwise you could end up with, you know, those biscotti that are just hard and you go to bite them and you feel like now you need dental work. That's not supposed to be the goal. They are twice baked. That's what biscotti means. It means cooked, baked twice. But it's not supposed to be that it takes on this texture. It's supposed to be that nice snap on the outside and then you've got a tenderness on the inside that soaks up your coffee or whatever you're dipping in. Dipping in. Please excuse me, my temperature, my voice is going in and out. I have fighting this plague for weeks now, and it's been a little bit of a chore. Okay, so we're going to start with the double chocolate, just because it happens to be in front of me. So what we've got is our flour, our cocoa powder, baking powder. It's right in front of me. Our flour, our unsweetened cocoa powder, baking soda, salt, butter. Your butter has to be softened, but it cannot be like really, really super soft in the microwave. That will affect the texture. We've got our salt, our butter, our sugar, eggs, room temperature, vanilla, homemade because we've already done that. And what's also, this is the perfect spot to add our homemade cocoa nib extract. It is incredible. Please make that. You'll love it. You'll never be sorry for it. And of course, chocolate chips. Now, when it comes to chocolate chips, I'm very, very particular. You probably hear me say that a lot. I don't buy regular chocolate chips from the supermarket. I don't find that the quality is what it needs to be. We're going through all this work, and then you're dealing with a chocolate chip that's got this waxiness to it. It's just, if that's all you can get, listen, it's better than a punch in the head. But when you're dealing with really good quality from better sources, you will not regret it, and you can taste the difference immediately. So I'll link it, and if that's something that is agreeable to you, please let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on comparing the type of chocolate that I use. Yes, it is a little bit more expensive, but some places you spend because you save money in other places. I'm not asking you to just go run amok and break the budget. I would never. I would absolutely never. Okay, so I'm going to meet you at the mixer, and let's get these started. The oven is preheated to 350 degrees, and we're ready to go. All right, now the butter I'm using, every opportunity I have, I use the best butter possible. Now that is almost always going to be a European style butter. I'm using Kerrygold today. It is one of my very favorites. There are a couple of others that I like. There's one called Plugra that is also really, really quite delicious. There's a really nice one that we get from Azure Standard, and that's the one I usually have because I buy it by the case. But I haven't had a delivery from them in a few weeks, so I'm out. So I actually went and caught Kerrygold on sale and filled up. Okay, so we're going to cream our butter and sugar together. It's important to really whip up your butter and eggs when you're creaming your butter and sugar. That's going to give you a lot of the texture in your baked goods. There are certain times when you don't want to do that, but I always explain what they are and the reason why. Let's move this a little closer. But when it comes to cakes and cookies and things, you whip that thing like it owes you money. Now we're going to add 1 egg at a time. And remember, our extract is in with our eggs. You do not add the next egg until the first egg is completely 100% incorporated. Again, that seems like, why are we being so persnickety? Being picky about how we cream our butter and eggs, or our butter and sugar, and then by adding our eggs, it really does affect the texture. If you had them side by side with one that was under creamed and then one that's properly done, which maybe we'll do that as an experiment one day, just so I can make the point, you'll be able to tell the difference immediately. So you're using the same ingredients as anyone else, but that texture difference is in the method. Then goes our last egg. We are going to add our dry ingredients. Okay, now what you don't want to do is start to exercise any gluten. That is absolutely not what we want, because we want our cookie to have a beautiful, tender texture. So we put it on low. If you overwork your dough, whether it be this type of cookie dough, any cookie dough, it will wake up the gluten and will give you a tough cookie. Perhaps that's where that saying comes from. Now, just as we're almost there, we're going to drop our chips in. You come up just a touch. Stop. That's it. See you back at the bench. Okay. So we have a pan prepared with a sheet of parchment paper, and we are just going to very easily, using a bench scraper, and this is a bowl size one because it's rounded on one end and it's flat on the other. So when you have the rounded one, it allows you to scoop out batters and doughs from a bowl and get all the way to the bottom. That's just why that one has that shape. Okay, so we more or less divide them in half. Don't leave any of the yummy stuff on the tool. And then I'm going to bring over our pan and show you what we do next. Okay, so we've got our sheet pan, and you just make a loaf. And the loaf, you want it to be about 2 inches wide. And you're just going to press it down just like this. Now, you need to make sure that you leave enough room. Let me make sure I'm in this. Yes. You want to make sure that you dampen my hands because this is super sticky. So damp hands make this a little easier. Not wet, just damp. This way, by doing it this way and making sure that we're as close as we can to that size, our biscotti will be the same size, which means they will bake at the same rate. So I started in my hands like this. With my hand damp, it just helps. This is super sticky. And you definitely want to leave a good amount of room in between. If your hand starts to get super sticky again, you just dampen the hand again, which mine just did. Okay. And then, you know, the easiest thing in the world at that point is to use the one you already made and just match up to that one. If it's giving you a hard time in the middle, which this one is doing, you use your tool. Yep. And the ends will, you know, they may want to try to taper on you. Don't let them. No tapering. You're in charge. Okay. Now we're going to bake. I like to run my fingers down the side so I get a clean edge. And I do that on both. Now you're going to bake this, and then you're going to bake it again after it's cut. So this is, biscotti is about a method. This is a little messy because it's chocolate, and chocolate likes to be a pain. But that's okay, because it's worth it, because it's delicious. Okay, so this is going to go into the oven, and I'm going to show you. Don't worry about the ingredients or the instructions. They will be linked for you, as always. This is going to go into the oven, and I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out. Another little detail that you might want to do, you can bake them just like this, or this is something called pearl sugar. And this sugar is pretty, and it does not melt. And it's from the Norwegian countries. You'll see it on their cardamom buns and things like that. It adds this beautiful texture, but it's also, they're very tasty. So you can do one with the pearl sugar, which is just a little detail, looks like a little snow kind of thing going on. And you could do the other with sanding sugar, or you could leave it plain. Now, when it's not the holidays, I don't do this. I leave them plain because it's just my preference. But during the holidays, it's time to splash things up a little bit, and these will shimmer when they come out of the oven. Okay, into the oven we go. So while we have one batch in the oven, we're going to make the other. Now, this particular batch has almonds in it, and it's very important when you're working with any kind of nut in your baked goods. Even though, yes, they're going to bake in the oven, and you would think that would manage it, but it does not. You want to make sure that you toast these in a dry pan. Let them cool all the way down before you work with them. If you do not toast them, they will have nowhere near the flavor that they could had you toasted them. By toasting them, you bring out the natural oils that are in the nuts, and you wake them right back up, and they take on a toasted, and that between the toasted flavor and those natural oils being fully awake, you get 100% more flavor from the same little package of nuts. So here we are in a dry skillet. And it's important that you're using a heat-resistant rubber spatula. I know I say that all the time, but making that mistake can ruin your spatula, your pan, and your nuts. Now, one of the ways you'll know your nuts are ready is you're going to start to smell them. They will take on a huge aroma that's just delicious. But it's also important that we not toast only the one side. These almonds are cut in a way that's called slivered, and it is my preference. You can get them skin on or skin off. I usually get them skin on, mostly because there's nutrition in the skin. It's delicious, it adds more flavor, and it doesn't affect the baked good in a negative way at all. If you wanted to toss the pan, which is that's called, you tip your pan all the way forward. I don't know if you can see that. And then push it forward and then pull it back. But that could burn you, so please be careful. Maybe wear long sleeves and an oven mitt while you're trying to learn how to do that. But by tossing the pan, you do get a more even distribution of nuts. I don't know if you ever watched the baking competition shows, but in order to cut back on time, because the contestants are so desperately rushed, they have no time left, so they try to sneak it, and they don't toast the nuts. Every single time, the judges call them out for it. You can't hide it. If it's not done, you can't hide that you didn't do it. Okay, now I'm smelling a significant toasted smell. So what you want to do is turn the heat off before your nuts are where you want them. That makes sure that you don't burn them, and then you just keep them moving until everything is just the way you want it. Especially if you're on an electric stove, it stays quite hot, which almost always is a negative, except for when you're toasting nuts, apparently. Okay, that's perfect. Let me see if I zoom in. Can you see? You see the toasted? And you can actually hear it. And that's the oils that are being released from the nuts. I'm going to transfer this to a separate bowl, let them cool, and then we'll go on with the recipe. Hands again. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now, remember, these spread, but they spread only during the first baking. So just more or less in a shape that allows you to see well enough to be able to divide them reasonably in half. Perfect, it does not need to be. Damp hands again. Okay, so that's 2 inches wide, 1 inch high. More or less. We're not taking a test. Now, obviously, if you didn't want chocolate in here, because perhaps you have guests that would rather not, or if you have a lot of guests coming, I would recommend you have some that have chocolate, some that don't, some that have nuts, some that don't, because you have to be mindful of people who have allergies and so forth. We don't have that issue here. And if I make them without chocolate, the ones I make without chocolate are always the ones that are eaten last because everybody fights over the chocolate. So for that reason, I learned my lesson and I just put the chocolate. There we go. Oh. Now I still have something in the oven. I like to bake these one tray at a time. So for that reason, I'm going to put these in the fridge until those come out. I forgot to show you, I did put on the sanding sugar. I just think it looks really pretty after it's baked. Adds a bit of a sparkle. Cooling rack, don't forget the cooling rack. So now, out of the oven, and you see how much they spread. You see? And they are firm. Hard, no, but firm. That's how you know they're ready to go. We're going to let that sit on this pan for 5 minutes so that we can handle them. Okay? So 5 minutes, and I like to just kind of quit touching each other. Good grief. Okay. And then I'll show you the next step. This is a full-size offset spatula. Very important, and I'm going to show you why. This pan is crazy hot, but you want to slip underneath. Now these are so thin that you can actually move everything without catching underneath and ruining the bottom of your cookies, of all sorts of things, cake layers. If you're going to do this sort of thing, you need a full-size offset spatula. So these are going to cool just long enough for us to be able to handle them, because we have to get them off of here and get them onto the board so that we can cut them. So I just wanted to get them moving, which I could do because I have this. Be back in a minute. You can cut this way. I don't like it. So I prefer to cut on the diagonal. I think it's just prettier. And it's about 3/4 of an inch across that we're doing. But by staying on the diagonal, it's just better looking. And you get these nubbins. And you can't beat a delicious nubbin. Now, when you go to bake these, the geese are going crazy again. You're going to stand these cut side up on the baking sheet. And they're very, very tender right now. And then they're going to be rebaked. Okay, so I'm going to cut the rest of these, and I'll show you exactly what I mean. Whoops, see, now that one is really tender. So when it's really tender like that, use an offset spatula or your knife. You don't want to risk breaking them. Now these are going to bake one more time for about 10 minutes. If you want them extra dry, you can flip them over and bake them for another 5. I don't. I don't add the extra 5. However, this is the first time I'm doing it in this oven. So you know what? Put a pin in that and we'll find out if in this oven, maybe I need the extra 5. Look at these little bits. I'm going to bake it, even though I just want to eat it. All this stuff. See? See? Just like that. And then we bake again 10 minutes. Okay, so this is what they look like when they come out. They smell incredible. They now have to cool. Do not take them off the rack until they are 100% cool, and then they're ready to go. They're crisp, but when you bite into them, there's a tenderness inside that you just can't beat. And they're dry enough that when you go and dip them, they absorb beautifully, whether that be hot chocolate, a glass of wine, a glass of sherry or marsala, whatever it is you've got. Milk. It's great. They're addictive. They're so delicious. And if you package them up, they make the most beautiful gift. But now, so we could have variety, the other set go into the oven. Here we go. The sanding sugar is so pretty, and it adds a beautiful sweetness and a nice texture. Now these will rest for 5 minutes, and then we'll cut them, same as the last. We'll be back then. And so here we are. We've got our dark double chocolate biscotti all cooled and stacked. These are still very, very hot. They smell so good. You can actually smell between the almond and the chocolate. You can smell it outside. Absolutely wonderful. Amazing for gifts. They freeze well. All the instructions for packaging, storing, freezing, all that stuff is included in the printable that comes with the recipe. I hope you love them. I know we do. There's never any left, not a crumb. Thank you for visiting with me this week. I'm going to give you a close-up in just a moment. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoy what we do here, and if so, I hope you'd consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing. It does matter, and I appreciate it. I hope you're having the best holiday season. I'll see you next time.